What's up, guys? Welcome back to the weekly scraps, episode 230. We got some big news. We got Francis Ngannou. We got Umar Nurmagomedov taking on Corey Sandhagen. A lot of good stuff happened in the MMA universe, and of course, we got some drama with the old Israel Adesanya and his ex-girlfriend. Very interesting stuff, but we'll start with Francis. Congrats, because that is a big deal. I don't know. I can't remember all the terms. I don't have it in front of me. I know he's got a seat at the chair or the board of directors for PFL Africa, whatever that means. Because I know somebody, he was talking about it, saying like Chachi wanted to do something, or one of the promoters wanted to do something, but it wasn't like the same. But they wanted to do like Road to one. But it wasn't exactly the way. So that's why I kind of got a little confused. I didn't know what was the difference. Road to one with Francis Ngannou and an opportunity for the fighters versus Francis being PFL Africa. So there obviously has to be some little nuanced differences there. And I really don't know. Either way, it's a big deal. I don't think anyone has ever done anything like this. No one's ever done anything like this. It's just straight up gangster. Like, for him to be in such a powerful position, how he played his cards. Obviously, there's some negatives. You know, the wasted time, kind of out of sight, out of mind, not giving fans an opportunity to see him compete. And then we lose the opportunity to see him versus John Jones. So I parlay that into what John Jones says, like, how you calling yourself the baddest man on the planet from across the street? And then Francis hits him with a gangster-ass response like, so cross the street then. And for me, hearing him say that, or seeing him say that, reminds me, actually this doesn't remind me of anything. This just makes me think what could potentially happen down the line. So follow me. He tells him to cross the street. It's like a subtle subliminal message like, you could be here too. And then we could both get paid out the wazoo. Then we can scrap, and that's a fact. And then we can find out who's the baddest man on the planet and leave it at that. Bars. I'm out here, man. I'm doing it all, baby. Jack of all trades. It's like, nah. But I do think this is a great opportunity to parlay that into a mega fight with him, which obviously under the UFC is still a mega fight. But a mega fight where both guys are handsomely paid, potentially. It just depends on how John goes about his situation, because obviously these guys are both getting older. But there is that question of, if John were to follow suit and do the same exact thing and then went over there, is there still an opportunity for that fight to actually happen? Because John is talking about retiring. So it'd be interesting to see if he did like a similar process of testing free agency, and I don't know. I'm just speculating here, like, was Francis like subtly giving him like a hidden message, like cross the street then, or was he just straight up just being gangster, like, so cross the street then? You want to come fight? You want to come figure this out? We could do it. But obviously he's tied up in a contract, so he can't just do it. So that's why it makes me believe like he's trying to give him a subliminal message. I don't know. I like it, but I think it's gonna be a very fun build up. If they do actually fight, whether it's in the UFC or PFL, probably not in the UFC at this point, because it seems like Dana was pretty set on saying that that door is closed and Francis Ngannou will never fight in the UFC again. But we do know Dana does say some things and definitely backtracks from time to time, not often, but from time to time. So we'll see what actually happens down the line with that. Breaking news, we saw OMalley giving his girl and his mom $50,000. I thought that was pretty cool. Now, there's a couple of different ways to look at it. It's like, reading the comments, you would think that people would just be genuinely happy for the females and for him, that he's in a position that he can actually do that, but that's not the case. People were actually a little split, saying like, some things are better behind closed doors. Is it really that genuine? Because you're recording it and making like a publicity play out of it. Yeah. I agree to a certain extent. It's cool either way. That he's able to be in a position where he can take care of his loved ones. And on top of that, he hasn't fought since October. So for him to actually go out of his pocket to give $50K each, like just to have, not including the things that he's probably doing for his parents, the things he's probably doing for his fiance, wife, or significant other. It's either he's really responsible with his money and the money that he's earned to date, or he has some really good sponsorship, and maybe a little bit of both. And maybe the YouTube channel is actually doing really, really well and paying him out a pretty solid penny every single month. And either way, it's a blessing to be able to have that type of income to do something like that. And then he might also be looking at it as, well, I'm fighting in August. At some point, I'm fighting, so that money should come back. I don't know. So there's a lot. I've never wanted to count anyone's pockets, but I always stress if fighters need to make sure they're doing the right things with their money, paying their taxes on time. I got caught up with taxes, and I'm one who always preaches about it. And because it was just, I had a misconception about what it means when you take your money and you fix up your property, that is not an automatic deduction. You got to do it over a certain amount of time. And I knew that, but for some reason I thought money spent, expenses, no. No. Those are home improvements. You got to depreciate that over time, and you don't get those expenses all deducted. And that set me back. Full disclosure, I mean, I was in a hole with taxes about $74,000 with Uncle Sammy. And I'm super good with money. Like, I bought my house. I bought my mom a house. And these were both 20% down. I bought the house in Vegas. But before I bought the house in Vegas, that's when I got into that jam, right before the Sandhagen fight. So COVID hits. I have no idea how I'm paying my taxes unless I refinance the house. I got these crazy interest rates. I'm like, there's no way I could refinance the house. Like, I literally just bought it. So the money I would pay and the closing fees, a couple $1,000 just to take the money out to pay. I'm like, this is just so chaotic. And I was ahead, and now I'm behind again. Thankfully, I beat Corey, and I was able to get the bonus, the $50K performance bonus for the submission, and that was my first one I ever gotten with the UFC. And I was able to, I paid my taxes right away, paid out my coaches right away, paid out the management right away. Like, I never wait. Like, I always do my math beforehand for a win or for a loss. Now for me, it's just a flat fee. I'm currently in the position that I'm in. So I always do my math right away, and this is what I encourage fighters to do. Glass half full and glass full, because you always look at it the positive. Like, you win, you get both. That's the glass full. You come short and you learn. You know, you didn't get the W, but you got something in your pocket. Show and win, just to show. Make sure you budget all that out, your expenses and all that stuff. I hope you guys have S corps or C corps. Really just an S corp or LLC. You only need an S corp after you make a certain amount of money. So it just depends on how ambitious you are in terms of the way you're dreaming, the way your perspective is, and your outlook on life, in terms of how far you really do think you're gonna go, or where you're at currently in your life, or other outside ventures, sponsorship and things like that. Make sure they're paying your business and not paying you directly. And I'm no accountant or anything like that, so I'm not trying to give you tax advice. I'm just telling you what I do. I would definitely refer to a professional, full disclosure. I'm not getting myself in trouble with nobody crazy say, Aljamain Sterling told me to do this. No, I didn't. I said to go get a consultant, and I told you advice on what I do. And this is what I do. I write off all my crazy expenses from traveling, training partners, coaches I pay out, management I pay out, food, gas. Well, now I don't really have gas, mostly just in Vegas. In New York, I drive the Tesla. So, yeah, all those things. So with that being said, I just hope the younger fighters are doing the right thing. And again, going back to OMalley, I think it's pretty dope. It seems like he cares about his family. And I think that's a very important trait to have, because I didn't grow up like that. So for me, like I'm learning the importance of family now, and I think finally starting to get close with the majority of my sisters, some of my brothers. I think fighting has brought us closer together. And at the same time, under that same breath, sometimes I have to wonder if or question. I think it would be naive if I didn't question this. And I think everyone who's close to me, that knows me behind the scenes, know how skeptical I am about everything. And it's just like, I'd like to ask questions. You have to ask questions or wonder, what if? Just making sure you're not really leaving yourself too vulnerable because you have such high expectations of others. It's like, I expect the best, but I also don't put myself in a situation where I could be let down, if that makes sense. So even, again, going back with family, like, yeah, I'm glad that, like, it's bringing us together, making everyone more involved. I do wonder, like, when I do take that next L eventually, because the next L is always going to come, and it's always one fight away. As long as you keep fighting, it's always one fight away. So with that in mind, I do wonder if they'll be around for the attempt for me to bounce back, or when I'm trying to hang out, or inviting people out to certain things. So it's just the whole nine. And I don't know. We'll see. The time will tell with that. Like I said, I keep the highest expectations. But if it changes, like, I'm not going to be let down or disappointed, because I still have my immediate core, which my family is honestly my training partners and my fiance. Those are like the closest people to me. And then I got my cousin, who I lean on even when I'm through the losses, you know. So I have my support circle, even though sometimes I don't reach out as much as I should because I just keep everything bottled up. But yeah, this is just me having a small little venting session with you guys. But it's the reality of things. And this is what has helped me to be protective of myself, my mental, and the things that I've earned. And with that said, parlaying this into Izzy and his ex-girlfriend, I always find it crazy when I hear these stories of how the female wants half. It reminds me of that soccer player who put everything in his mom's name. Him and his girlfriend get a divorce, and then immediately she wants half. She goes after his assets and sees that he has nothing. But then he's now entitled to half of her stuff, which I think is hysterical. And I don't know if he actually took any of her stuff. For me, I couldn't. As a man, that's just so weird to do. It's just like, yo, get up on your own too and go get it yourself. We are men. Like, we don't get the luxury to just hang out and kick our feet up the way that females can. And you can disagree with me all you want. Society has grown us. We have come from a society and traditions like that where it's more acceptable for the female to play the back role and let the man come home and be the breadwinner, and the female takes care of the family. That is the most traditional sense of where this country was built on. And times have changed. Now females are providing for themselves. So what I'm saying is, if the man were to do that, it's just weird. It's just very weird. I know there's some statistics out there, and you guys don't quote me, go look it up, that there was those relationships where it's not where the guy earns less, it's where the guy is just a stay-at-home dad and the female controls everything and she's the breadwinner. Those relationships legit don't last very long. So go look that up. That is not me saying that or a hunch or what I think. This is a statistical thing that you can actually go search. So going back to Izzy, well, actually the soccer player. So I'm just hoping that he didn't do that, because he can obviously go play again if he wants to and make that money and get it on his own if he really wanted to. But again, he has it. It's just not in his name. Nothing was in his direct name where she could come and take half, but he has the ability to come and take half if he wants to be the guy who does that to her to almost, I guess, get even, so to speak. With that said, with Izzy, we don't know their relationship. So for me, it's hard to really say much, but we're going to keep it a buck. We're going to keep it spicy. You are his ex-girlfriend. Just reading the headline, you don't deserve to get half. Just reading the headline. Now, where you deserve to get something, because one, you're not even married. That's one. You're not married. You don't deserve, by law, you do not deserve. I mean, some places are different with the cohabitants, domestic partners or whatever you want to call it, whereas like after a certain amount of years, you're entitled to something. What that something is it exactly half? Does that mean you're non-legally married? I don't know what those stipulations are, so it's hard to speak on that. But I can tell you for one thing, from my perspective, Izzy's the one in the octagon taking punches, getting the brain damage, the one that gets knocked out. He's the one going through those crazy dog training sessions. What she's doing, at least from what I'm seeing Izzy post and comment, seems like he was just supporting her and that she costed him money, and there was never a situation where she was bringing him money to the table from like outside opportunities or helping him prepare for his fights by either cooking, cleaning, maintaining the house, making sure bills are being paid, giving him massages or things like that, or traveling on the road where it now impacts her from her ability to make her own income. And that's the difference. We don't know all those fine details. So I'm fully supportive of Izzy in this situation, because at the end of the day, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym. If you were just some chick that he was hooking up with that was along for the ride, if you were working or you were only around for like the good times and you weren't around and actually putting in contributable time that benefited the guy who then got to a position of status and financial gain, I can't see how you should be justified to take what this man has earned in literally sweat, blood, and tears, mentally and physically. What people don't understand, us as fighters, they think we just get in there and compete, but there's a lot that goes into it from a mental standpoint, a spiritual standpoint, and a physical standpoint, which we see the physical in the cage, but we don't see the physical behind the scenes unless you're watching either my YouTube channel, Izzy's channel, Volkanovski, Henry. I don't really know too many other people. Wonder Boy has a channel, but he's mostly doing fight breakdowns, like technique, it seems like, more so than like vlogging and things like that. So when you see our day-to-day, oh my God, and you're seeing the stuff that we go through, the grind to get to the cage, how can anyone just say, yo, we dated, we were a thing for a little bit, I deserve half? Again, if your life wasn't put on pause, if he didn't make you put your life on pause, if you decided that you didn't want to work, that's on you. If you didn't do anything that was actually contributable to his success and gain, to his popularity, his positioning, what are we talking about here? It sounds like you're just trying to get a free ride, and that's not okay. And we got to stop making that a normalized thing where these chicks are trying to come in, they see a potential, they roll the dice, and it does work out for them, and they think they could just get up and go, and hey, I'm just gonna collect on the way out. I'm not feeling this anymore. That's not cool. And I feel like that's a very normalized thing, and it seems like the tide is starting to turn, where now the guys are being a little bit smarter in how they are approaching these relationships and these marriages. And I am a believer in getting a prenuptial. And I don't want to talk too much about my personal stuff, but short story, Ty and everything, quickly, my fiance and I, we have an agreement. We've talked about it, and we will do our own prenuptial. And she also knows I'm not the guy, like, she's helped me out a ton. Like this, I could go on record and say it. And I know if it ever got to that unfortunate part, like, I'm going to always make sure I take care of her. Now, as long as whatever situation, that's what we discuss, but we have our own agreement. And I think it's just wise. Like, obviously I come from nothing. She was there from the beginning. So yeah, we've had our talks of things that we find something that would be agreeable between the two of us, kind of thing, you know? So yeah, at the end of the day, I think we're starting to see a little bit more of a positive trend that prenuptials aren't bad. I think they're good, so you're not sitting there arguing because you guys can't stand each other and then paying some lawyers all this money to figure out something that should have been figured out coming into the marriage. And then once you have that figured out, you know what you both have coming in, you know what you both should essentially leave with going out, and then you could just figure out the stuff in the middle while you guys were together. This makes things So much easier, less headache for you, less headache for her, less having to deal with each other. So at the end of the day, it actually benefits you both. Unless you both want to keep paying legal fees separately and costing yourselves even more heartache and more financial pain. And on top of that, whoever loses usually foots a pretty hefty bill, and it just makes it easier to figure out. So yeah, I do think it's a good situation to talk about between couples. And the good thing about it, from what I've learned, you can make adjustments, I believe, every 5 years. Whereas if you and your partner come in with an agreement, and then after 5 years, you guys both are in completely different places in your life, and you decide to make a agreed upon adjustment, you can do that in your prenuptial. Where now it's like if she or he didn't help you with, or binary, if she, he, or binary didn't help you in the beginning, and then they took on a bigger role, you can now change and allocate those earnings or deserving contribution that they have to that party, and you guys can discuss that and make it something agreeable, and you guys can continue your relationship and partnership together happily without someone else coming in taking money from the court, from the lawyers, where it's just like, yo, what the hell is going on? Yeah, whatever. Had to talk about that. And before we continue, shout out Nerd Focus. Again, if you guys don't know, they are a nootropic energy drink. Bam, 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 bam. Really good stuff. This one is the 0 carbs. The green can has carbs in it. It's kind of like a Vitargo if you guys are used or familiar with that. With that being said, we just started a brand new partnership where I am the official brand ambassador for Nerd Focus. Couldn't be happier. They're in stores all over the place. Check on Amazon.com, Walmart's, over thousands of locations all across the country. And then we're coming to New York City, and we're coming to Long Island in the next few months. And if you think they're near you, also the official partner of the New Jersey Devils and the Prudential Center, and I believe the San Antonio Spurs. So you guys are going to start to see these guys everywhere. And for me, I have shares in the company, so I'm in. I'm invested. I'm in. So supporting them, guys, this would be supporting me, just to give you guys a heads up. I'm not trying to sell you. I'm just telling you this is actually a really good quality product. Obviously, we know about a whole bunch of other stuff out there. And I made sure I checked with them before jumping over to something that I really did support and want to get behind. Mainly because it was a great opportunity for myself, and I didn't want to burn any bridges on the way out. And it's not like burning on the way out, like I'm leaving, like the deals and the terms of everything were over and expired a couple months. So I just wanted to make sure I had a clean gentleman's handshake, kind of so to speak, to go work with another company that is also in the same category. And again, like I said, I really like their product here. Check this stuff out. Me just talking to the owner, we had a lot of things that we discussed, and the main thing I brought to him was what's in the can, and is this something that you would give your kids? And that was the main selling point for me, where I'm like, dude, you got me sold. The quality, it tastes good. The product is great in terms of what's in it, and it actually gets the job done. And it being a nootropic drink, giving you the brain health. I don't want to say giving you the brain health, but it's focused on brain health. And for combat athletes like myself, other fighters, what's better than that, than having something that's going to contribute to your brain health, that's going to also give you a little caffeine boost, and it's not going to be detrimental to put into your body like a bunch of sugar and all that type of crap. So guys, I'm telling you right now, check out Nerd Focus. You will not be disappointed. Tell them I sent you. I don't know how, other than maybe sending them an email through their website, nerdfocus.com. We'll put the link in the bio. Next up, we got Umar versus Sandhagen. Sandhagen. I don't know why I just did that. This is just me. Really good fight, man. Umar's finally got a top 5 opponent. Really interested to see how this one plays out. Obviously, we know Sandhagen's gotten better with his wrestling, implementing it during his fights. He's not the greatest with it yet, but he's trying. He's trying it in real combat, in real time, and he's having some success. And even if he doesn't get the full-on takedown, it keeps his opponents guessing. It's very similar to what I do. If I don't get the takedown, it keeps my opponents guessing, and then I can attack off the failed takedowns. The ones with Henry where he stuffed the shots all the way down to the ground, that's a little bit different. I'm not going to come up striking in that position because I'm in a very terrible position. But with Sandhagen, he's in a position where he's shooting, he's not getting it, he's coming up and he's striking because he's not going all the way down to his knees. Smart. Taking a page out of my book, and I'm going to say it's a page out of my book because whatever. I mean, believe it or not, I think he's watched some stuff that I was doing and kind of broke it down and use it to his advantage now. The only thing I would say is he's doing it smarter where he's not going to his knees. So I give him that. And he's doing it his way with his own twist on it. So it's nice to see that. And it's going to be interesting to see how he does that with a wrestler. Or would he avoid the grappling altogether? I don't know. The striking, I lean towards Sandhagen because he's more diverse with the switch stancing. But then you got Umar who also switch stances a lot. He's pretty clean and he's pretty safe. He's not throwing anything that's going to leave him vulnerable or exposed. I do like Sandhagen in this one in terms of the striking. But the part that gets me is whether or not Sandhagen can keep it standing. And if he does get taken down, can he get back up and get Umar off of him? That's always the challenge. I mean, Umar didn't look the most impressive against that kid, against Nate Maness. Nate Maness looked like he did some good homework in trying to battle out of those positions against Umar. Obviously, that was a couple fights ago, quite some time ago. Umar has definitely gotten better. He's shown some brilliance with his striking and being very tricky, coming up with a knee, then throwing a right hook that knocks out Raoni Barcelos at the apex. And then you got Sandhagen, who just beat Song Yadong and then also beat Chito Vera. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes. Because we know Umar can take him down. We're going to get to find out how good his wrestling is. And I think the difference between this Umar Nurmagomedov versus the Nurmagomedov at 155, Khabib, is Khabib was so hell-bent on getting a takedown where you see Umar, he's more comfortable with the striking, with letting go the leg kicks and throwing the head kicks, question mark kicks, letting his hands go a little bit. Khabib had a really good jab that he started to show like later on, distance management. But for the most part, you knew he was going to take you down. He wasn't going to stand and play around on the feet at all. He was willing to take some damage to land, where I think Umar is more like, I'm going to circle, get out of the way. Where Khabib was against, like when I say take some damage, against Michael Johnson and against Edson Barbosa, Khabib was willing to just walk forward, absorb some strikes, trying to get inside to get his hands on his opponents, trusted his chin, and he was able to do exactly just that. Eventually, he would get to you against Justin Gaethje also, take some shots, and he would eventually get you down, and that was always his game. Now, Umar is a little bit more elusive, it seems like, on the feet, light on his toes, very bouncy, can switch stance. He throws that nasty right leg question mark kick. I think he also throws it from the left, but from what I remember, it's mostly the lead leg he'll throw. He's got a really good extension of that push kick. He'll throw the rear leg push kick. And Sandhagen, very diverse, picks his shots. The only thing is I feel like Sandhagen gets tired. He got tired against Chito. It looked like he got a little tired against Song Yadong. And it makes me wonder if just the height, the amount of weight he cuts, that he's probably not as heavy as me, but he's super lean. And I know that has to take something out of you for sure, for any one of us. Where Umar, I don't know how much weight he cuts, but it seems like he might have an easier time making the weight. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just as hard for him. But striking, I'm leaning towards Sandhagen being able to probe, go to the body. Can he get Umar tired from the grappling exchanges by defending and then putting on some damage, kind of like Song Yadong did against Ricky Simon? Find out next time on UFC, whenever. I don't know when that's going to be. We're going to find out, though. Or maybe I missed it. Guys, and let me know in the comments if you guys know when that fight is going to be. I know it said in the works, but I have no idea. A couple other things. I'm still injured, like with my legs banged up. My bicep still sucks. I'm supposed to get another MRI on that. I'm trying to get to this fight in August. We've talked a little bit about it. and we're trying to see if we can make it happen. But my leg is still super sensitive to the touch. I hope I'm not ruining anything by me saying that. But, guys, I did just fight. The swelling has gone down a lot. I can actually do a flex of my foot, but it's still very stiff. I haven't done any PT. I've done PT once in the sauna one time. And I did an ice bath last night. Well, yesterday afternoon at Hofstra. So I think that helped out a ton with the swelling for sure. So I don't know. We're gonna see, because my shins are super sensitive. Like, even just me touching it right now, they feel like mushy almost. Like I could push and make a dent in my leg. Like, you ever have something that's squishy and you squeeze it and it leaves like a handprint? That's what I could do with my shin bone right now. It's pretty crappy. Yeah, so I'm hoping the sensitivity of that is gone in a couple of days, hopefully by next week. And then we could, make sure that this is going to happen for reals. I told him yes, verbally agreed. But, of course, my body has to agree, It's kind of like Manel Cop versus, what was his face name? Davison Figueiredo. And he thought he was good to fight, and then his eye, whatever. And then I have to touch my bicep again to see, because I definitely feel like I tweaked it a bit in the fight. But it held up. So even flexing right now hurts. So I don't know. We'll see. So you guys have this inside scoop. I'm going to try to make this happen. This will be a sick, insane turnaround. But where there's a will, there's a way. Next up, we got the fight card. Mackenzie Dern versus Angela Hill. This is a good fight. I think Hill, 15-12 is her record. She won her last one against Emily Ducote, and she beat Lupita Godinez. That was a really tight fight, though. And then before that, she lost 3 in a row. Ginger Doba, Amanda Lemos, who's fighting for a world title, on the August card. Tisha Torres, she lost to her. And Ashley Yoder. Well, she beat Ashley Yoder, actually, so my bad. My bad on that. Now, we got Mackenzie Dern. She's coming off a loss to Xiaonan Yan, and she beat Misha Torres by split. And before that, she lost to Marina Rodriguez. And Rodriguez, I feel like she just lost to somebody. She just lost to Ginger Doba. So this division, the strawweights, man, is super tight, very competitive. Mackenzie Dern, only 30 years old. Angela Hill, I think she's older. She's 38. She's getting up there, so she needs to try to make one more strong run at the title. Maybe she gets a lucky break and gets an opportunity to fight for gold. We'll see. Crazier things have happened. Luke Rockhold, Michael Bisping, 2 weeks notice. Bisping comes out, shocks the world. So I don't know. We'll see. I do like this matchup because it's like a striker versus grappler kind of theme. Mackenzie Dern, obviously, really good in the grappling department. I know she's made some commitment to trying to be a better striker. I think she needs more setups to just be who she is, be comfortable in her own skin, get the fight to where she wants it to be. Because sometimes she'll leave her chin up where she'll get hit and her whole head will pop up. And okay, it's a fight. Sometimes these things happen. We punch with these little gloves and then your whole head just snaps back. Compared to like boxing, is just a little bit different. I don't know. I just feel like the small gloves, exchanging in the pocket, you rarely see guys that kind of like chin down, just boom, 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 boxing and exchanging with each other. You don't really see that all too often. You kind of see more of a neutral approach, because I feel like people go with the uppercuts and the front kicks up the middle, where if you're super tucked and you're fighting someone who's more diverse and they use all their limbs and all their attacks, I think you're more exposed because it's harder to see those things because your chin is down. Yeah, you're protected here, but you're only so focused this way. It makes it harder to see things coming up from underneath. Where I think if you're more here, not up here like that, but more like in the centered, I feel like you can still kind of track everything versus being up here and until you just see down here, now you can't see anything up here because of your eyebrows. It's a personal preference. And then you got Angela Hill, of course. She's very volume-oriented, and to see if she can diffuse the grappling exchanges of Mackenzie Dern. I think Mackenzie utilizes a single leg to her game and adds that. I think she'd be very dangerous and tough to beat for anybody in that division. And then you got Angela Hill, of course. She's got to make sure she's on her P's and Q's, staying out of those body lock sequences, not falling for Dern pulling guard, because she will do that occasionally. And she's got to be on her bike for 25 minutes or less and try to put on some good finishing touches to get Mackenzie Dern out of there. This is a very good fight. I'm very interested to see how this one goes. And then we got the co-main event, Emi Shabazian taking on Anthony Hernandez. Hernandez, I think, is on a nice little run right now. He's on a 3-fight win streak, beating Rodolfo Vieira, Josh Fremd, whatever. I don't even know how to say that. I'm just calling him Josh. And Marc-Andre Barrio. He submitted him in the 3rd round with a triangle choke. And he beat Vieira with a guillotine choke, arm and guillotine choke, who's a black belt ace. So a lot to be said about that in his game. And obviously Shabazian revamped, beating Dolce champion. I don't even know how to say his last name. I'm not going to even try. But losing to Imavov, getting stopped in the crucifix position, losing to Jack Hermanson, losing to Derek Brunson by ground and pound, and before that knocking out Brad Tavares, and being on a run, undefeated run, getting into the UFC. So he stumbled a bit. Let's see if he can make this 2-2. I don't want to say 2-0. A 2-fight winning streak. He's still 25. Damn, I didn't even realize he was that young. Still 25. He's 26 in November. And Hernandez is 29. Wow. So this is a very interesting fight to see if Hernandez is going to add another big name, or should I say not another big name, will add a big name to his resume, which should propel him into that top 15 conversation if he can finish or get past Shabazian in a good way. But Shabazian's adding in the wrestling. He's been looking great at the PI. He's been looking great in his last fight. It seems like he's got the mental approach now dialed in, doing all the right things, and it seems like he needed an overall head coach who was going to keep him honest, make sure he's doing the right proper work for MMA. And I'm not talking on anything about his situation beforehand, just from what I see as an outsider looking in. When I see a guy who's very dedicated to his S&C, very dedicated to doing his grappling training, seems like he's still loving the sport, enjoying the sport. That's a dangerous guy and is very promising for his future. So I'm very much looking forward to this. I like Hernandez. I think he's a very talented fighter. And I also think Shabazian is very talented, especially when it comes to striking. He just finds a way to just look brilliant with the hands and the kicking. His kickboxing, to me, is just beautiful to watch. Now, whether or not he could do that against a guy like, I think his name is Fluffy Hernandez, it's going to be very interesting because I think Hernandez has some solid grappling. And I think we might see some exchanges here because I think Shabazian is the better striker on the feet. But Hernandez might be overall better with the grappling. But with the improvements that Shabazian has made with the grappling, we'll see if that kind of neutralizes each other and see if this might be a stand-up exchange, a fair, I should say, or will one have the advantage significantly in the grappling, so to speak. I don't know. I can only give you what I think. Let's see what happens. Some other fun fights. Andre Fialho versus Joaquin Buckley. Buckley coming down to the welterweight division. Very intrigued to see what Buckley's going to look like. Getting his weight down. Fighting guys closer to his size. He's going to be very explosive still. Very strong still. But will he still have that power behind him in his punches? I think so. It just depends on how much he's cutting. How much was he cutting before to get to 85? It didn't look like much. It looked like he was walking around maybe 190, 185. Kind of like Kevin Holland was doing. Now, cutting weight like Kevin Holland did, having success there, will Buckley have similar success? I think he will. Andre Fialho is very hittable. He's willing to sit in the pocket. He's dangerous. He hits hard. And he's willing to trade to land one that can put you out. He is just mean. But I think that could be in the favor of Buckley, who uses good footwork, good taekwondo kicks, and then he'll swing for the fences. And if he connects, man, it is lights out. And if there's a guy he could connect on who's going to stand right in front of him, this is the matchup right here. So I think this is a favorable matchup for Buckley in that sense. It's just whether or not the weight cut is going to be affecting him all too much, and will he feel comfortable to be the Joaquin Buckley that we know and be just this specimen and be as fluent as he is on the feet when it comes to his striking. Because he even had a really good fight with Imavov, if I remember correctly. Let me see if it's the right name I'm saying. Imavov, yes. He stayed in the fight even though he was losing the first round. Definitely lost the first round. Lost the second. And then even in the third, him being beaten up, he was still swinging haymakers. And I felt like there was a point he even touched him and clipped him where it was like, yo, this would be the craziest comebacks. One of the craziest comebacks. But yeah. Next up, we got Mahashate. Yeah, that's how you say his name. 23 years old. He is taking on the guy Borshev, the Russian guy who's 6-3. He lost his last 2 fights. He's a striker by trade. So Mahashate has a great opportunity to make a big splash in his 155-pound division, coming off a loss to Rafa Garcia. And then we have Michael Johnson versus Diego Ferreira, 155. Carolina Kowal-Kaswick, KK, taking on Vanessa Demopoulos. Ooh, that's a good one at 115. Demopoulos on a 2-fight win streak, though. Carolina Kowal-Kaswick, she is on a 2-fight win streak as well after snapping a 5-fight losing skid. She's now back on a little bit of a run, so momentum. Excited for this one because Vanessa is strong. She's looking like she's getting a little bit more confident in her striking. And I think that can make for a very interesting fight. I don't know which way this one's going to go. I know KK is a lot older. She's 37. Vanessa is 34. Not that much older. It's kind of like me and Henry, 33 and 36. Should be a fun fight. Former champion taking on an up-and-comer, even at 34, still an up-and-comer on the rise right now. Both on a 2-fight winning streak. Latifi taking on Rodrigo Nascimento. Let's go, my guy. Limpy D. Team Limpy D. We don't actually have Limpy D's guys. We're just something that, you know, we say. It's kind of like an inside joke. Yeah. Limpy D. Let's go. Chase Hooper is back taking on Nick Fiore. Victoria Leonardo taking on Natalia Silva. Natalia Silva, she was the one that just beat somebody. Was that the spinning back kick? Yeah, that was her. And then we have Takashi Sato taking on Themba Gorimbo. He had a rough debut, Gorimbo, against AJ Fletcher. But he's supposed to be very promising. His record is 10-4. He's 32 years old, 6 feet 1 inches tall. His reach is 76.5. And Takashi is 32. He's 5'10" with a 73-inch reach. So this should be a good fight. Maybe, I don't know if the AJ Fletcher fight was on short notice or something, but that was a tough one for Themba. Let's see how this one goes in his second sophomore outing against a guy who's a little bit more seasoned in Takashi Sato. And other than that, guys, I think we're all good. So thank you guys for tuning in. Like, subscribe. What else did I have to say? I think that was it. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for always tuning in. Much love. I'm about to go try to do something with this leg right now. Maybe try to move it around a bit. Thank you for always tuning in and always for the support. And shout out Iaquinta Realty. He's got his own brokerage, Iaquinta Real Estate. He had the grand opening on Tuesday. Whole gang was out there. Gang. So shout out my guy. Always working hard, man. Thank you guys again. Much love. Peace.